Hey guys, it's Leslie. Happy Sunday. I hope you all are doing well amidst our quarantine, social distancing period. It has been crazy to think that this is week 2 of not seeing you guys, and we miss you tremendously. All of us leaders do. And so I have been inspired by our church's effort to reach everyone virtually. Not only our church, but so many churches have stepped outside their comfort zones, have figured out a way to become a virtual church and to help reach people despite the fact that we can't be together in fellowship and in worship. So in an effort to try and match that and to try and, inspire you guys amidst your start of your new week, and since what would typically be a Sunday evening youth group service isn't happening, I thought I would give a video a try to try and reach you guys and to give you a little pick-me-up for the start of your week. So earlier this week, we challenged you guys to find a verse about hope that resonated with you all. Now more than ever, during these uncertain times and these unusual circumstances, we need some comfort and we need some certainty, if you will, in our lives. And I hope you took advantage of that challenge to spend some time in your Bible to find a verse that resonates with you, or to reread one of your favorite verses that deals with hope. And I hope you did that, and I hope you felt comfort in that. What I wanted to do tonight was just share with you one of the verses that I found, passages that I found that really has kind of brought me some comfort during all of this. And I want to just share like a quick little mini lesson, if you will, to you guys to help spread some positivity and some comfort during the start of our week. So let me ask you this. What makes a promise good? What makes a promise good? When you make a promise with someone, what makes it a good promise? How do you know that that promise is going to be kept? Is it the person you're making the promise with? Are they a good person? Are they your friend? Are they someone that has a good reputation? Are they known to keep their promises? Are they not known to keep their promises? Have you known them long? Have you not known them very long? What about what the promise is? Is this a promise that you're going to be able to keep? Or is it a promise that's off this wall that you're like, I'm never going to be able to keep this, but I'll try? All of those things kind of help make us answer that question. What makes a promise good? But what about an oath? When someone takes an oath, like if you're going to take an oath to be a judge or a police officer, or even a priest, you take an oath before God, right? What makes an oath good? Is it the type of oath? I mean, generally all oaths are good, right? They usually have a good a duty about them, if you will. But was your oath done before a judge or a priest or someone of high authority, right? Did you lay your hand on anything that was sacred, like the Holy Bible? Think about the presidential inauguration. When our president is inaugurated, they lay their hands on a Bible and they go through the process of becoming the United States president. There's always like a higher power involved, right? There's a sense of righteousness or duty, right? So typically both a promise and an oath have a higher power involved, a power that allows you to feel confident in the commitment that you're making with the person or the oath of some kind. Think about an old Western movie. I'm sure you all have seen something, or even a movie with superheroes or something in it that you've watched recently. At some point during the movie, in an action scene, if you will, usually two people that might not get along in the start of the movie look at each other and they make eye contact or they shake hands and they acknowledge that they're going to help each other get out of whatever sticky situation they put themselves in. And I've seen it more than once in so many different movies, but that handshake meant something, right? They acknowledged each other and the situation they were in, and they made a promise with one another they're going to help each other out of it. Whatever happened after that point depends on the movie you're watching. But in that moment, that promise, that handshake meant something. It's sacred. It's a commitment that they're making with one another. And that sort of commitment even still exists today, right? When someone shakes their hand on a deal, they're buying a house even, or they're making a business offer or something like that. The handshake represents the commitment. You are agreeing to something and you are going to stand by it. It's sacred. That same confidence we still see today with anything that we do when we make a promise. I don't know how many of you have ever made a commitment or a handshake of a deal, but I bet almost all of you have made a pinky promise. I've made pinky promises. I know lots of people have made pinky promises, and whether they were about the silliest little thing or whether they were something serious, like a secret that you told your best friend on the playground or something like that, you knew that pinky promise meant something, right? You were confident that who you made that pinky promise with, they weren't going to break it because it was a pinky promise. That meant something, right? That confidence is there because it's a pinky promise, and we all grow up knowing what a pinky promise really means. So I think right now more than ever, we need some sort of commitment. We need some sort of confidence that we're going to get through this time that we have no idea what's going to happen, that we're going to go back to school and we're going to get to come back to youth group and church, and all of our normal activities are going to resume someday. And that it's terrifying sort of to not know when these things are going to happen and when they're going to start back up again. And so I think more than ever, we need that hope, and we need to figure out how we find it and how do we rely on God during this time. So I wanted to share with you all a verse that I had been reading, and it's in Hebrews, which is in the New Testament, chapter 6, verses 13 through 18. For when God made a promise to Abraham, because he could swear by no one greater, he swore by himself, saying, "Surely blessing I will bless you, and multiplying I will multiply you." And so, after he had patiently endured, he obtained the promise. For men indeed swear by the greater, and an oath for confirmation is for them an end of all dispute. Thus God, determining to show more abundantly to the heirs of promise the immutability of his counsel, confirmed it by an oath, that by two immutable things, in which it is impossible for God to lie, we might have strong consolation, who have fled for refuge to lay hold of hope set before us. I really liked this passage because it took a second for us to be reminded of the hope that God has given us. So in this passage, we are reminded of two immutable things, a promise and an oath, both of which God has made to us. We already discussed how it's common for people to swear on an oath in front of God or lay their hand on a holy Bible. Think of a wedding. When Michael and I get married in a few months, we will be taking an oath in front of God, a vow to love one another for the rest of our lives. This is sacred, right? Because we are making a commitment not only between ourselves, but also between with God. And that commitment means so much more when we have that. In this passage, God is making both a promise and an oath with us. So God knows how powerful an oath and promise is when it's made on himself, right? That's why he swears this oath on himself. He is the most powerful thing. And I don't believe that God does this to show his powerfulness or to sound conceited, but rather to provide encouragement and support and assurance in this commitment that he's making to us. And I believe that that is the hope that we're looking for. In verse 18, it says for us to lay hold onto the hope set before us. How do we do that? What does it mean to lay hold onto something? Sometimes the terms in the Bible don't quite make sense and they're not as clear and direct as they should be, but laying hold is just, we are to embrace it. We are to trust it, to take it to the bank. It is the truth. We should feel secure in it. And that is the hope that we need right now, especially now more than ever during the social distancing period. So how do we do that? How are we going to lay hold to this hope that God has given in this commitment to us during a time when everything feels uncertain? We can take hold of this hope by spending time with God, staying connected with Him. So how do we do that, right? We read our Bibles. We spend time in the Word of God each and every day, just for a little bit even, building our hope and finding comfort in the words of Him. And also pray to Him constantly. Your connection with Him is just as much an individual experience as it is as a group, with a group at youth group and in worship. So you need to spend time praying with Him and sharing with Him your worries and your doubts and your commitment, right? So pray to Him, build that relationship with Him, continue to stay connected. And then when we're back together again and we get to worship and we do all the fun things, you can fill in that void of fellowship at the same time. But you're not going to be missing a beat with your relationship with God. So I really hope that this passage and this verse has kind of helped you find some hope this evening, and that you can take that and carry that throughout the rest of this week and the coming weeks. And we don't know when we're going to be able to gather again, but I do know that this commitment that God is sharing with us here in Hebrews is full of hope, and that is enough to lean into and to propel us into the next coming weeks, despite not knowing what's going to happen. Always, guys, if there's anything that we as leaders can help pray with, for you, or with you about, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We would love to hear from you. Be sure to keep a lookout for some more quarantine challenges to come your way. And check out our new website for St. Andrews. The link is in the description below. And while you're at it, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And be on the lookout for more videos like this to come your way.